You ever play a game that's so bad it makes you question all the life decisions you've made leading up to that exact moment? There's been a few for me. Trash shit like Sniper Art of Victory and its garbage sequel, Sniper Ghost Warrior, are the ones that immediately come to mind. But then there's games that might seem bad at first glance, but end up being legitimate masterpieces like Indigo Prophecy or even Deadly Premonition. In all honesty, there's loads of games that could fall under either of these categories, but the ones that seemed to stand out more were the ones that would release during the 6th and 7th console generations. It was an interesting time for gaming as well. Video games were starting to hit that point where they felt almost lifelike, and there was a certain intrigue as they became more cinematic with better graphics and a greater emphasis on writing and storytelling, with stuff like voice acting feeling like it was getting better and better as time went on. These two console generations combined would produce so many incredible titles that made gaming feel like it had reached its peak. I mean, looking back on it, I can think of so many games from both gen cycles that I still consider to be some of the best games that I've ever played. But then there's stuff that you felt like you just kind of want to forget. That's where our journey together brings us to today, and where the game Bullet Witch comes in. Oh man. Now, I'll be honest, my most recent playthrough of this game wasn't exactly my first rodeo with it. No, I remember playing Bullet Witch on the Xbox 360 way back forever ago, wondering what the hell this shit even was. I'll admit, maybe I didn't understand it at the time, being younger and a lot more stupid than I am now, but man, age does change some things. Whether that's a good or a bad thing, I'll let you decide. But for now, let's just get into Bullet Witch. Bullet Witch is a third-person shooter that released in Japan in 2006, but the version that we would get in North America, Australia, and in Europe would drop the following year in 2007. As a game published by Atari, Bullet Witch would initially be developed by Cavia, a company who, if you're not entirely familiar with them, developed games like Drakengard and even Nier. The game would, funny enough, see a port to PC over 10 years later, with the studio Marvelous taking charge here and Xseed acting as the publisher. I'll be real, I had no idea that this game was even on Steam, and honestly, I forgot it even existed until I stumbled on this thing like I had uncovered a long-lost relic. Am I gonna be forever cursed because I decided to go through this one, or am I going to unlock some buried treasure that I should have gotten around to sooner? Well, let's find out together, shall we? In Bullet Witch, you play as a witch named Alicia. In the game, she's able to use magic and has a gun rod that can transform into several different weapons. As for the story itself, when everything begins, we learn that the world had fallen into a state of disarray after it had been struck by natural disasters, plagues, and a demonic invasion that wiped out a large part of the population. Alicia's goal is to battle and defeat the demonic army in order to bring peace to the dying world. If any of that sounds fucking stupid, that's because it is. In reality, Bullet Witch is a weird game. When you see that opening cutscene revealing calamity after calamity happening, it's almost like a parody in a way. And then when you add in the characters, it's like, holy fucking shit. I mean, look at this dude.
I'm Maxwell Cougar.
What the fuck kind of name is Maxwell Cougar? This game just screams a certain level of edginess that I don't think could exist outside of the time that it released. And you know, it's also kind of funny because I streamed this game and some people mistook it for Bayonetta. I guess I could see some of the similarities, especially when you got a female protagonist who's flipping around and shooting guns and shit. But if you look past that, this game isn't anything like that. This game really is a unique breed of strangeness. I mean, it's super campy and a lot of it doesn't really make sense. The design of Bullet Witch is unremarkable too. You get stages that are relatively large with random sections that seem deceptively huge. However, you're kind of trapped because there are generally barriers blocking the way. Some of these can be removed by shooting these stupid ass brain things, but others I believe stay there no matter what. It kind of sucks because it can make navigating some of these levels really annoying and an absolute pain in the dick. You know, I don't know if this is a me problem either, since my tolerance for it has gone down the shitter, but I was actually stunned that this game didn't have any collectibles as far as I could tell. I was looking all over the place as if I was gonna find some random stuff thrown about because of the level sizes, and there was absolutely nothing. It was kind of refreshing in a way because I've been playing so many games with all these annoying pickups that really just get distracting. Bullet Witch doesn't exactly have that problem, though it does get really fucking repetitive. I mean, a lot of the times you're just spraying at enemies, and every so often you get to throw out some magic. Though, from my experience, there was only a few spells worth using. The lightning and the raven spell were the ones I probably used the most. The lightning spell was good for taking out tanks and what have you, and the raven was a good way to hit up enemies when there was a large number of them, so you didn't get peppered with bullets. Oh, and I have to give props to the meteor spell because this thing had the ability to destroy buildings. The spell itself sucks fucking dick, but honestly, I found it incredibly surprising that this game had destructible environments to some degree. You had a few bosses too, they were whatever. I think the most annoying boss was this one that you fought on a plane. I kid you not, I probably spent more time on this fight than any of the other levels combined. It was just like non-stop death after death. This was probably the only time that I found myself incredibly annoyed at the game, and it kind of burned me out because I had spent so much time on the fight itself. Honestly, if you play Bullet Witch, just get used to cheap deaths happening at random. These dudes throwing stuff at you, death. Snipers, death. It sucks balls because it's so unpredictable. There are tells, like you can see a laser sight on the sniper rifles and what have you, but it's so hard to see because it feels like it blends in with the environment, which tends to result in Alicia getting clipped. Other aspects of the game include upgrading weaponry and unlocking spells. Honestly, I don't know if you really need to bother with getting new guns or anything like that. It feels like I mostly used the starter weapon, which is the machine gun. I didn't really see much use for the other guns, and like I said before, there were very few spells worth using, though you can upgrade the damage and what have you on spells that you do use by further leveling them. And you know what? I pretty much just covered the entire game right there. There's nothing else to really talk about with this one. Bullet Witch isn't a long game or anything. I believe it took me a grand total of 6 hours to complete all stages. That's also including the time I spent getting destroyed by the flying boss. You might be thinking, oh, what about the flaws with the game? Well, that's where things get complicated because the whole game is jank as fuck. It feels like it could have been a PlayStation 2 game, but since the Xbox 360 was the hot new system at the time, they probably whipped it on that because why the fuck not? Is Bullet Witch a system seller or something that would have been worth playing in the 2000s? Absolutely not. It's rough. In fact, this is an ugly ass game. Everything in the game looks like shit. The environment, the enemies, the NPCs. But at the same time, all of the bad stuff in the game is offset by the fact that it's a hilarious game. I think it has some charm to it with all of the cheesy edginess. You just have to learn how to take it in a way that isn't serious to get some satisfaction while playing. Unfortunately, any positives are ruined by the game's terrible level design. You know those stupid brain things I mentioned earlier? Well, you have to search for these things to unlock the paths that allow you to progress. Finding these can sometimes feel like hide and seek and become increasingly frustrating when you just want to finish levels. This is easily the most offensive thing I found about Bullet Witch because there were points where I would search up and down and all over just to find these things without knowing where I was supposed to go. Like, okay, fine. The openness would have been neat in 2006 or 2007 and whatever, but this degree of bullshit gets under your skin real quick. It would have helped with a marker or even a map, but no. No map at all, and you only get a marker when you don't actually need them. It sucks, and is one of the reasons why towards the end of me playing this game, I was getting incredibly sick of it. It's just an incredibly tedious experience overall. So that's really it. Bullet Witch is a whatever game. I don't know if I should be grateful that they ported the game to Steam or not, because this was one of those games that felt like it did nothing for me in life. Any stimulation that I got from this piece of shit came from the stupid ass cutscenes.
Too bad, old man. It's game over.
No, wait. Please. Before you kill me, let me say my prayers, please.
Prayers? You should have done that before.
And like I said, this stuff is so terrible that I can't even recommend it at all unless you're a sick fuck like me. Is this a game that's so bad that it's good? Not really. It's just bad. If you have nostalgia for Bullet Witch, I'm so sorry, but this was one of the most painful times in my life. The awful level design, the cheap-ass one-shot deaths, that stupid fucking flying boss, it all added up to a frustratingly annoying time. I generally like campy stuff too, but it wasn't enough to save this game. I guess I'll at least give it credit that there's no collectibles, but come on. Is that really something to boast about when the rest of the game is just terrible? Nope, it's not. So with all that said, Bullet Witch sucks fucking dick, and I never want to play it ever again. Thank you all for watching. What did you think of Bullet Witch? Have you played it, and did you like it? I mean, I thought it was terrible, but you never know. Someone out there might have fond memories of it. Leave a comment below and I'll check it out. Also, if you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing. As always, it helps me out. We'll be back with more soon enough, so stay tuned. Until next time, I bid you adieu. Peace.